This is J. Krishnamurti's second public discussion in Madras, 1973.
What shall we talk over together this evening?
Choiceless awareness.
What's up?
Choiceless awareness.
Choiceless awareness. What's up? Greed. We talked about yesterday greed, envy. What do you think we should talk about together this evening?
Our habits. Do you think we could not go back to the topic that was originally suggested last night about isolation and whether or not the spiritual path can be pursued at the same time as total integration with communities in the world?
The questioner wants to discuss isolation, whether it's possible to live a spiritual life, whatever that may mean, and at the same time carry on with our daily life. Is that right, sir? What shall we?
Greed.
Would you like?
Yesterday we talked about greed. Today we let us discuss grief. Problem of suffering is.
That's what the gentleman said. Problem of suffering. Do you want to discuss that?
The problem of living daily. Suppose you are a businessman. You are a businessman.
What would you do?
Would you remain uncorrupt?
Yeah.
You may not corrupt others.
Yes. If you are if you are a businessman, would you remain uncorrupted? Do you want to discuss that?
Context, yesterday you had started talking about chaos and our relationship to it.
Fear and our relationship to what?
Chaos.
Fear and chaos, our relationship. Now just a minute, sir. You want to discuss suffering, choiceless awareness? What would I, the speaker, do if I was a businessman and remain uncorrupt? And the last question.
About death also, sir.
Death also.
Peace of mind.
What, sir?
Topic on peace of mind.
It's all right, I can hear. Peace of mind.
Sir, it's not for fun I am talking.
I understand, sir.
My extra point I would like to remain uncorrupt, but I am being corrupted. Without corruption, I cannot get on in life.
Yes.
That's the life. What would you do in that situation?
What would I do as a businessman, knowing that I'm being corrupted and the whole structure is based on corruption? What shall I do? Is that what you want to discuss? That really interests you, does it?
Choiceless awareness.
Choiceless awareness, grief, sorrow. All right, sir.
One more, sir. In very ordinary life, suppose if I want to come here, I want to board a bus. There is competition there also. And I like to be uncompetitive. But if I am uncompetitive, I cannot come here. What's the thing?
If I am not competitive, the world will destroy me. What shall I do? So these are the problems. We live in a world that is utterly corrupt, immoral, socially. There's a great deal of injustice, poverty, hunger, war, suffering. And what is one to do if one lives in this world surrounded by pollution, both mentally and ecologically? Everywhere there is a great deal of personal and non-personal sorrow. What is a human being who wants to live intelligently in this world to do? Right? Can we discuss that?
Yes.
How do you, if I may ask, look at the world? How do you regard the world?
How to change an individual to convert to become a peaceful man?
How is an individual to become a peaceful man?
In the world.
In the sentence. Now, let us please be clear what we are discussing, what we are trying to go into, which is an individual, a human, an individual. Can he live a life in this world, a life of not being corrupted, a peaceful life, and so on? Now, individuality, the meaning of that word means indivisible. That means a human being who is whole. Such an entity, a whole being, is really an individual. But anybody who is fragmented in himself is not an individual. We cannot use that word individual, which has a very specific meaning. In English, if you want to go into it, it means an entity, a human being who is whole, not fragmented, who is saved, holy, H-O-L-Y, all that's implied in that word. And we're asking, how is a human being who himself is in sorrow, confusion, conflict, liable to be corrupted, liable to face all the misfortunes and the aches of life, how is he to live here peacefully, intelligently, and a life that has meaning? Can we discuss that? Let's stick to that, in all that is implied in that. So I asked a question, how you, sitting there, look at the world. What is your response or your relationship to the world? The world being the national divisions, national sovereignties with their armies, the world of violence, brutality, wars, hatred, enmity, corruption. What is your, as a human being, your relationship to all that? What?
Yes, sir. I try to make the best of it for my
No. What is, please, sir, we're going step by step into this.
I am trying to answer that. As I am now, I try to make the best use of it for my own purpose.
I asked a different question, sir. I asked, what is your relationship to this world?
Defense. Chaos into the divine order.
What?
Bringing God.
I'm done. Sir, please answer my question. If you don't want to answer, it's all right. But if you have asked me to discuss that, and therefore I'm asking you a question. A simple question. What is your relationship to the world about you?
Part of it.
Sir, just a minute. You are part and parcel. I don't know what that parcel means. Wait, sir, please, sir. You say you are part of that world, right? Now, what do you mean by that? What do you mean when you say, I am part of that world?
We are responsible for it.
I'm sorry, sir, I can't hear what you're saying. Therefore, please. Sir, look. We live in this world. Socially, it is immoral. Politically, it is corrupt. There is pollution, lack of energy, and so on, so on, so on. What is my relationship to this? What is am I separate from that? Or I am the world? Because I've created this world. God has created it. Man has created this misery, this world of confusion, conflict, wars, tears, suffering. That's the world we have created. We human beings have created. Isn't that so? Huh? You're rather doubtful about it? Comment là?
Disons que c'est nos parents.
Mais écoutez.
Ils l'ont créé.
Oui, c'est ça, là. So do you feel that you are the world and the world is you? Because you have created this. Your parents, your grandparents, your human beings have created it. This brutality, the wars, the injustice, the sorrow, the tears, we have created it. No? Right, sir? Huh?
Out of choice or compulsion?
There is no choice, sir. You are in it up to your neck. So you have created, because you, as a human being, are corrupt. You, as a human being, identify yourself with a nation, calling yourself India or Indians or Hindu, Buddhist, Catholic, Protestant, Communist, Mao and so on. You have divided the world as India, Russia and so on. Right? Aren't you responsible for it? No? So how extraordinary. You rather discuss about abstract subjects about which you know nothing and get very excited, but when you face reality, like that you are responsible. You as a human being living in this country are responsible for everything that's going on. For the corrupt politicians, for the people who are in politics, who want to hold positions, all the rest of it, power. You are responsible. So you are the world, and the world is you. Whether you like it or not, that is a psychological, physiological fact. Right?
How is it that I am responsible for this? For all this mess.
Aren't you?
Is compelled.
Hey, don't you call yourself a Hindu?
Yes.
And the Muslim, Pakistan and India, and they are at war. You are a non-Brahmin or Brahmin, hate each other, exploit each other, all the rest of it is going on. Aren't you responsible for that?
Individual would not have contributed.
So we are not deaf. I explained, sir, individuality means a human being who is not broken up, fragmented. And most human beings are fragmented, which means contradictory. They live a contradictory life. Therefore, you cannot call yourself an individual.
But we have not come here of our willing, sir.
What's that?
We have not come here at our willing.
At all?
At our willing. We have not come into
No,
this
we are
world.
born with it helplessly in the body.
We are born helplessly. We come into life. We didn't want to come here. You people are not serious at all. You're playing with words. So the house is burning. Your house is burning. And you sit there, discuss, and say, they didn't ask me before I was born. So do look at this problem, please. This is really a vitally important question that is troubling the whole world. Not your little mind, but the whole world is concerned about this. What is the relationship of a human being with the world which exists? If I am corrupt, I am part of that world. If I call myself a Hindu, I am part of that world. If I support national sovereignty, I am part of that world. No? Are you silent about this, sir?
What if I am good and not corrupt?
What if I am good and not corrupt? Are you? Oh, sir, don't. It's like saying when the house is burning, what is the color of your hair? Do please face the fact. Both psychologically and physically, you are the result of your culture, right? The culture, your tradition, your gods, your economic state, your divisions as a Brahman, non-Brahman, hating each other, poisoning each other. Aren't you responsible for this? No? Huh? Therefore, sir, you are the world, and the world is you. You may not like it. You may think you're most extraordinary, spiritual, divine, etc., etc. But the fact is you are part of this world, and the world is you.
One man cannot constitute the world.
What's up?
The individual cannot constitute the whole world.
The individual cannot constitute the whole world. I explained just now, sir, what the individual means. Aren't you the whole world? The whole world is suffering. The whole world is in tears. They are afraid of death. They have divided themselves into nationalities, into religious sects, Catholics, Protestants, Hindus, Buddhists, Muslims. They are suffering. You're part of that suffering. No? Oh, for God's sake, what? What, sir?
Physically I am able to hear, and psychically I am home. Now present here.
I can't hear, sir.
Physically I am able to hear. Psychically I am whole of the whole audience here. He said physically I am separate, but psychologically I am same with the audience and with the world. And he makes the distinction.
Look, sir, aren't you the product of your culture? Aren't you? The culture being your tradition, your gods, your social life, you are the product of that, aren't you? Or do you think you're some strange human being who is not related to this world? I'm surprised you don't. All right, sir, I'll go into it. Psychologically, you're part of this world. You may have a different face. You may have dark skin or light skin. You may have a bank account. You may call yourself by a particular name. That does not constitute an individuality. You are a human being. Human being is not only what his face, his height, his body, but also psychologically, inwardly. What he believes, what he's frightened about, his pursuit of pleasure, his ambitions. They are common throughout the world. The objects may change, but the desire for a particular thing is the same. Please, this is a fact. Need we labor this point? Need we go? So is that clear? Now, how do you look at the world? Are you separate from the world?
As a reflection of my own consciousness.
Oh, sir?
As a reflection of my own consciousness.
Can't. I can't hear.
He says, as a reflection of my own consciousness.
Yes. So, look, I'm the world. That's a fact. And the world is me. Now what am I to do? How am I to live in this beastly world, mad, insane, chaotic world, which has so many religions, so many gurus, so many ideas, opinions, judgments, everything crowding in? How am I to live in this world sanely? Isn't that your problem? Oh, for God. No? Then what do you do? How are you to live in this insane world sanely? Right? Now, when you say to yourself, I am the world and the world is me, is it a verbal statement, an ideological abstraction of a reality, or do you see the fact? You understand, sir? The fact is one thing, and the abstraction of that fact is another. The fact is you are the world. You are the product of the culture in which you live. Therefore, you are not an individual, just an expression of that culture. Now, that's a fact. Both biologically, psychologically, genetically, and so on, that's a fact. Now, how do you look at that fact? Do you draw away from it into an idea and then say, what am I to do about that idea? You're following this up? Therefore, you're not concerned with the fact, but with the abstraction which you have made about the fact. Therefore you are concerned about the abstraction and not the fact. Do you see this, sir? Please. You understand? Are we meeting each other? Sir, we suffer. You suffer. Not only physically, but psychologically. Pain, grief, the agony of loneliness, frustration, disappointment. You suffer. That's a fact. The away from the fact is a conclusion. And you are more concerned with conclusions than with fact. Do you see this? Please. The fact is that you are a human being, like everybody else throughout the world. But you have labeled yourself as a Hindu, as an Indian or a Muslim or a Pakistani or God knows what else. And that label is much more important than the fact that you're a human being. This is a simple fact, sir. Do you see it? And we quarrel about the abstractions. You understand? I'm a communist, you're a capitalist, I'm Mao and you're something else. Just ideas, which are abstractions from reality. You understood this, sir? I wonder if you... But, sir? Non capito. I don't understand what you're saying, sir. I might be talking Greek. Now, sir, that's a fact. So let us face the fact and not the abstraction of the fact, right? Can you do that? You understand what I mean? I have a toothache, that's a fact. The abstraction that is withdrawing from that fact is an idea that I shouldn't have toothache. But the fact is I've got a toothache. It is much more important to deal with toothache rather than that you should not have toothache. You understand this, sir? Now, all the world is concerned with the abstractions, not with the fact. The fact is, listen to this, please, this is important for your life. The fact is, there is starvation, poverty in India. Terrible poverty, degradation. Now, the politicians have plans. You understand? Communists have plans how to solve this starvation. The Congress people have plans how to solve this. The Mao people have plans, and so on, or the various political groups. They are concerned with plans, you understand? Not with the fact. Oh, you laugh, you are laughing, sir.
Sir, on a governmental level, only
Wait, sir.
people can work.
Wait, sir, do listen to what I am saying. So we live in abstractions and not with facts.
But plan is not an abstraction.
Wait, sir, I'm coming to that, sir. The fact is starvation. And that's the only fact. And if all of us, politics, non-political, communism, all of us got to say that must be solved. Then we would solve it. But if I come with my plan and you come with your plan, we'll begin to quarrel about the plans. Right? Now, so, the fact is you are the world. Can you remain with that fact? Not say what to do. We'll come into what to do is the next step. But can you remain with that fact and not wander away?
Sir, you are going away from your fact. I am telling you, please listen. You see, the world is becoming so complicated that things are being divided and each is taking a part of it to work out. And so the government takes up the responsibility of doing such social work.
Sir.
That's a plan. You and I cannot do it.
Sir, we are not talking at that
Then what
level.
are you talking?
I am stating a first fact and move from there, not government level. I am talking about your responsibility. If you are a human being, how you face this fact.
Individually, it is impossible.
No, I told you not as a human being.
Yes, correct.
How do you face this fact that you are the world and the world is you? How do you look at it? Do you look at it with an abstraction, or do you face it as it is? You understood my question, sir?
I contribute to what the world is.
What, sir?
I am contributing to the world as it is. And the world is contributing to what I am. But how does it make the world me and me the world?
I'm not going to go over it over and over again. I want to move, otherwise we'll get stuck with words. Now, how do you face this fact? With fear? With a conclusion? We say, what shall I do? What is the right action? You follow? Those are all abstractions, away from the fact. So, can you face the fact without the movement of withdrawing away from the fact? Have I made this question clear? I am the world, and the world is me. Now, when that fact is so, what takes place in my mind, in your mind? You understand, sir? When you face a fact, what takes place? What takes place, sir, when you face a fact that there's a cobra right in front of you? What takes place? There is action, isn't there? Isn't there, sirs? Now, when you face this fact that you are the world and world is you, what takes place? Go on, so what takes place?
Yes, my recollection is.
And you see, do you say that in front of a cobra?
No.
No. I'm asking you a question. When you face a cobra, there is immediate action, because you are dealing with a deadly fact. Right? Now, this is a fact that you are the world and the world is you. What action takes place? You don't answer because you don't face the fact. You are dodging it, you are avoiding it, you are inventing theories, say, oh, what am I to do, what should I do, what is my responsibility, and you are moving away. You don't say, this is a fact, I've got to answer it.
I realize that the imperfections I see in the world are in me.
Yes, sir, I've said that, sir. You are the world and the world is you. Because you're ambitious, greedy, seeking power, position. And so you create a society that supports you. Right? You create a religion that says, go on, old boy, play with this. Only think occasionally of God if you can. And you play that game. Now, a man who is serious, confronted with this problem, that you are the world and the world is me, and no escape from the fact, what will you do? What takes place in your mind?
Yes, I have to live with it.
What, sir?
I have to live with the world. There is no way. I don't get into abstractions now.
There is no way out?
I don't get into any abstractions, but I live with it.
You live with what?
I live with the world, as it is.
Huh? You live with what, sir?
With the world. In other words, the world. Or whatever it is.
You see? You live with what, sir?
In the world.
What is the world?
About this. Brutality.
So you live, listen, sir, what you are saying. You live with violence. You live with brutality. You live with the wars.
No way out.
So you accept it, don't you?
Yes.
Therefore, what takes place? You are supporting this rotten world.
Not supporting that. Live with it.
When you say, I live with it, live with what? Live with yourself? That's what you mean. And you live with yourself, which is your violence, your fears, your pleasures, your ambitions. You live with that. That's, you are that.
Without contributing towards corruption or pollution or anything. Living in the world. Or individual.
That's a lovely theory. It's like saying, I love my brother and have my hand in his pocket. Oh, don't, you really are not serious people at all. You don't know what it means to be serious.
Sir, if I am the world, and I recognize that, I must then live without corruption, and without violence, and without hatred.
Madam, listen please. What takes place when you are facing a fact? When you face a fact that there is a deadly snake in front of you, there is instant action. You don't even have the courtesy to listen to what is being said. Here is a fact, equally dangerous. Tremendous meaning in that. And when you face that fact, what do you do? Huh? Go on.
Immediate physical action. Immediate physical action.
Immediately?
Physical action.
Immediately physical action. What does that mean?
I see the danger. Act and remove it.
Sir, and that means that the current you don't mind. I want to change.
Look, sir, please just, would you have the courtesy to listen to the speaker for a few minutes? Courtesy, just listen. Don't offer your opinions. Just listen. Not that you agree or disagree. Find out what the speaker has to say. And to do that, you must have little attention, little courtesy, little patience. It is established not only by the scientists, but if you examine yourself very closely, you will see that what you are, the world is. And the world is you, however imperfect, however ugly, however brutal, is what you are. That's a fact. Now what shall I do when I am confronted with that enormous fact? Please don't answer me. What do I do when I am confronted, when I am faced with a deadly poisonous snake? One is a physical action, right? The action of running away from it, which is instantaneous. There is no time interval between the act and perception. Please listen to what I'm saying. There is no time interval between perception and action when I see a deadly poisonous snake. Now here, the problem is immense. When I say I am the world and the world is me, it is not a verbal statement, it is not an abstraction, but a reality. Now, what is my action when I am confronted with this thing, when I realize I am the world and the world is me? I realize it, not verbally accept a statement, not accept a conclusion, but a fact that I am that. When I am ambitious, I create a society that supports my ambition. When I am corrupt, I create a society that supports. So, I am the world and the world is me. I am faced with that fact. And therefore no moving away from that fact. What action takes place? There must be action when you are faced with a fact.
I can do nothing about it.
Huh?
I can do nothing about it.
You can do nothing about
No
it.
action.
You can do nothing about it? Is that what you're all saying? Be honest, sir.
We don't know what to do.
We are not facing the fact at all, sir. Like a physical danger, this psychological danger, we are not facing it at all. Why is this lack of seriousness in
Right,
us?
sir. Just a minute. You are educated from childhood to face the cobra, right? That is a lake. And there, through tradition, through experience, through memory, through what people have said, be careful of that snake. Therefore, you are conditioned to act instantly, right?
Yes.
Here, you are not conditioned to act instantly. On the contrary, you are conditioned to withdraw from the fact into an abstraction, right? See what is going on, sir. With the snake, you are conditioned to act instantly. Here, you are conditioned to go away from the fact, right? So your difficulty is how to uncondition the mind to face the fact. You understand? You can look at the fact. You logically, intellectually, every way say, yes, it is so. But you cannot act about it because you are living in an abstraction. Therefore, you have no answer. You understand my... If I don't live in abstractions, I don't. Personally, I don't live in abstractions at all about anything. I have no belief. I have no ideals, no concepts, no conclusions, no opinions. I observe the fact, and the fact tells me what to do. Right? But if I live in abstractions, then I don't know what to do. So, our question then is, why are you living in abstractions? When you call yourself a Hindu, that's an abstraction, isn't it? Or a Muslim or whatever it is. Why do you do that? Well, so answer, sir.
Yeah. It's easy to.
No, so answer it from you, not just intellectual word. Why do you live in a world of abstractions?
Separation is a gap between myself and others.
You're not answering my question.
It's the more easy, isn't
It
Come
gives
on.
consolation.
it? It's the more easy way to live.
Is it the easiest way to live in abstractions? Look, sir, you have an abstraction called reincarnation, haven't you? All of you believe in that. God knows why, but you believe in it. That's an abstraction. So, what is your life? You're going to live next life, right? Therefore, this life matters enormously, what you do, doesn't it? If you believe in reincarnation, because then you'll be born next life and a better life. More money, more houses, more. You follow? And if you believe that strongly, then what is important is how you live now. Isn't it? Therefore, the belief is an abstraction. The reality is what you're doing now. And you won't face that. So why does the mind, your mind, live in abstractions? There must be brotherhood, right? We are all brotherly. And we form societies, groups, and God knows what else. Why? Either you are brotherly or not brotherly. Right? So, why aren't you brotherly? Because you are, very simple fact, you are concerned about yourself. You say to the other fellow, go to hell, I'm going to be concerned about myself. I'll be brotherly when it pays me. But, so we never face facts. Right? Now, I say to you, why do you live in abstractions? You have to answer me. Do you go and read the Bhagavad Gita, which will tell you why you live in abstractions? Will you go to your guru and tell you why you live in abstractions? Will he tell you? The Upanishads? Will anybody tell you why you live in abstractions? Oh, come on, sir, tell me.
Isn't it because, I at least feel that it is because I find it easy to conform myself to the society that I'm living. That's what happens.
So you are conforming to a pattern
Yes.
which society has established and the religious teachers have established as an abstraction.
Yes, I agree.
Now wait, then what do? Just carry on living in abstractions? That's a fact. All right, I'll take you up on that. You live in abstractions. That's a fact, right?
Yes.
Now what is your action when you face that fact? You know what abstraction means? Words. A conclusion. A formula. A dictum. An ideology. All those are abstractions. And you are living in that. That's a fact. And when you face that, what is your action? You understand, sir? What is your action when you face that you are living with ideas, which have ideas, you follow? Words. What is your action? Do you drop them? The dropping of them is action. Right? As it is an action when you see a cobra. A man who is hungry, by reading a menu, is not satisfied, is he? You read the menu, you understand? And you think you're satisfied. You understand, so what I'm saying? That has been your religion, your education, your way of life. So, what is a man to do when he is confronted with the fact that he is the world and the world is he himself? You know what it means, sir? To realize that fact? Not verbally, intellectually, but to really realize it. You know what it means? That you are totally responsible for every action of yours. And not somebody else, not the government, not the society, not your culture. You are the product of that, and therefore you are facing the fact, and therefore you are absolutely responsible for that. So, don't you feel responsible for your family and children? Do you? Huh? Do you, sirs? What do you do? Just go up in abstractions? And let them starve, let them get disease and so on? You work, don't you?
It's the root of the problem.
That's what I'm saying, sir. You work, you have to act. You don't say, well, I will have abstractions that I must act. You go, you go every morning from 9 o'clock till 5:30 or 5 to a beastly factory office, sweat, be insulted, goaded, and that's your life. Right? And because that's your life and so boring, you trot off to your guru. Don't you? Go off to a temple, take a vow, shave your head or fast or play tricks with yourself. So, sir, now what takes place? What takes place to a mind that has realized that it is the world and the world is itself, and doesn't move from that fact? What takes place?
Ceases to live.
What, sir?
Ceases to live.
It ceases to live. How do you know? That's a conclusion, isn't it? What takes place when I realize that when you kill a Pakistani for the love of your country, and the Pakistani kills you for the love of his country, the wife, the husband, the children are crying, what takes place in you? Just what happens to you? I'm not being sentimental, emotional. What takes place? Right? I'll show you if you want. You see, unfortunately, that will become an abstraction to you, not a reality. To me it is a reality because I am not a Hindu. I don't belong to any country. Right? I have no religion as the religion of yours, which is non-religion. I have no authority. You understand, sir? I don't follow anybody. And I live a life in which I don't compare myself with anybody. Therefore, I am not envious of your cars, of your women, of your money, of your enlightenment gurus. Right? Can you do that? That is action. You understand, sir? A positive, direct action. And when all of you do that, you know what will happen to India? to this country, you'll bring out a new generation of people. What's up? What? Can you do that, sir? That's your next question. Because that you're facing a fact. The fact is that your house is on fire. Your house, not my house. And when you realize actually your house is on fire, you don't theorize, you work. Don't you? Now, will you, faced with this fact, act? It is a mind that has no tradition. Therefore, it's a fresh mind. You understand, sir?
Sir, how does it stop butchery in the world?
What?
So far, the different friends here, indirectly with talking, how does it stop butchery from the world?
What does it?
How does it stop butchery in the world taking place? Butchery.
What?
How does it stop butchery? Butchery taking place in the world.
How does it stop the wickedness that's going on in the world? Are you asking me?
Yes, sir.
Why? How do you stop it, sir? Not how do I stop it.
I can't stop it, sir.
What do you mean? The world is you and you are the world. If you stop being wicked, you have stopped wickedness.
Has it stopped?
No, so don't listen to this. If you love, I mustn't use that word. You don't know anything about it. So if the moment I realize I'm the world, and the world is me, and see the immense significance of it, not my little world, my little family, my little money, my ambition, my petty little opinions. I am the world of this extraordinary world, of the world of beauty, nature, and the flowers, the skies, the marvelous earth, and also the human beings that are suffering, aching, lonely, miserable, shedding tears. I'm all that. And I realize the wickedness exists there because I am wicked. If all of you realize that now, you know, you would be marvelous human beings. You would change the world tomorrow. But you're not interested in changing the world, nor changing yourself either. You know, sirs, this is becoming a great problem. Whether human beings, Arabs or Jews, or Hindus and Muslims, whether they can live peacefully, whether knowledge has any place to bring about peace. You understand my question, sir? Whether knowledge has any place in bringing about peace between human beings. Knowledge being experience. We've had probably over 5,000 wars since history began. Written history. People have cried, they have been mutilated without arms, without legs, without eyes. Women have cried the world over. They have had 1,000 experiences of tears, and we are still going on. So has knowledge any place in bringing about peace between human beings? You understand my question, sir? Please even understand the question, not how to answer it. You understood my question, sir? Has tradition helped to bring about peace in the world? Your tradition, my tradition, the Muslim tradition, the Christian tradition, you follow? You know that word tradition means tradare, to transfer, to hand over. And also it has another meaning. Another meaning is betrayal. Betrayal of the present. A man who lives in tradition is betraying the present. I wonder if you understand. Not understand it up here. Therefore, a man who lives in tradition is always betraying the present, which means the present agony, the present suffering, the present ache, loneliness, lack of affection. That is the present. And when you function in tradition, you're betraying all that. And that's what you old gentlemen and ladies have done. So, what will you do when you realize this fact?
Sir, you generalize one and all, why?
Sir, what do I say, sir? What do I do, sir? I haven't understood what you said, sir. What did you say, sir? I generalize.
All the human beings are corrupt and all the human beings are violent.
All human beings are violent. Right. I say yes. It is not a generalization, but observe. Observe yourself. Aren't you violent? Don't you get angry? Don't you want position, competition? Don't you support your India against Pakistan? Isn't that violence? And this is happening the world over. Therefore, you can say human beings for thousands of years have been violent. Right? It's not an abstract generalization, but an actuality. We are sexually violent. We are violent in our emotions. We are envious, which is a form of violence. And also, violence takes place when we live in a crowded city. You know that, do you? They have experimented putting rats, animals, in a very, very close quarters, not giving them enough space. When that happens, the animals, the rats and the other animals, lose their orientation. They kill their own babies, they kill their own mothers, they destroy themselves. That's what we are doing. You understand all this, sir? Therefore, human beings are violent. And therefore, you have created a world that's violent. Face that fact. Not how to get over violence. How to get over violence by non-violence is an abstraction. And you have played that with that game for centuries. But if you face the fact that you are violent, what takes place?
Unless I dive into all my accumulated knowledge and experience and leave this moment for this moment without creating a further knowledge and experience, how can you face the fact?
Do you really want to know that? an answer to that, sir? Will you pursue it with your life, not with words?
That's the only answer.
Huh?
That's the only answer, sir.
Will you give your life to find out the truth of it?
Yes.
So you're asking a question, how to live in the present totally, right?
Without creating an experience or a knowledge of its more.
Therefore you have to inquire into the question of what is learning. Right, sir?
One word back. What is the difference between...
Look, sir, wait a minute, sir. That gentleman asked a question. You're asking a question, sir. How am I to live in the present? You know, we don't know what it means. Therefore you say, I'm going to learn about it, right? Learn. Now, what does learn mean? What does learning mean? I learn a language and therefore collect a lot of words, verbs, and learn how to put the words and the verbs together. I learn.
But the learning itself is creating an experience, sir.
Wait, sir, please, sir. I said there are two meanings to learning. One is to accumulate knowledge, linguistic, mathematical, biological, scientific, and so on. There you learn and accumulate knowledge, and that knowledge can be added or taken and so on. There is another kind of learning. Will you listen to this? You know this kind of learning, right? You are brought up from childhood to learn, to know what learning means of that kind. I am bringing something new, something, think about, look at it, which is to learn without accumulating. Now, to learn without accumulating means to observe afresh each movement of life. That means if I cannot observe the movement of life, thought, feeling, all that, if I come to it with previous knowledge, with previous memories, with previous experiences, therefore can my mind learn a language accumulated, how to ride a bicycle, drive a car, and so on one hand, and also learn without accumulating. You understand? Which means I must give tremendous attention to this fact of learning without accumulation. Therefore it means learning all the time, never a moment of not learning. The non-learning is the accumulating factor. I wonder if you get all this. The learning is a constant movement. Therefore, there is never a moment you say, I know. You understand, sir? The moment you say, I know, you have lost all humility. When your gurus, your teachers, your enlightened, whatever they are, tell you, I know, they have lost everything. You understand? But a man who is learning, never accumulating, therefore, he learns every minute and has humility. Whereas the man who is learning and accumulating, he uses his knowledge for his vanity, both technologically and psychologically. So can the mind hold both? You understand, sir? Hold both and function That requires tremendous inward attention and discipline. You understand? Oh Lord, are you interested in all this? Or merely as a curiosity listening to somebody talking about something about which you know nothing?
Serious to learn.
What's that?
We are very serious to learn.
We are very
Serious to learn.
learn from me. You are not learning anything from me. You are learning by observing yourself. And yourself is far more important than me, because yourself is the life that you are living. So you can learn by observing. So look, I'll show it to you. Listen to it. Please do listen to it. I observe myself. The observer is the knower, right? Is the entity who is the past, the knowledge, the experience, the tradition, the entity that said, this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, which is all the conditioning of the past. I observe when there is observation by the observer, then he is observing through a screen of the past, right? You understand, sir? Now, can he observe without that screen? Which means, can he observe without the observer? An observation in which the observer doesn't enter at all. You try, do this, and you'll find how extraordinary things take place. Where there is a division between the observer and the observed, there is conflict, right? The past and the present. The observed is the present. And when the observer is different from the observed, then there is division. That division brings about conflict, right? Between the Muslim and Hindu. So similarly, when there is an observer, watching the observed as though you were separate, then there is conflict. But the observer is the observed, right? You understand this? No. Anger, at the moment of anger, there is no observer, is there? Later on, the observer comes in and says, I mustn't be angry. Yeah, I was right to be angry. It was good to be angry. It was rational to be righteous anger. So, the observer then is different from anger. You right, sir? Are you getting tired? So, where there is an observer different from the observed, there is conflict. When you say, I am different from the world, you are in conflict with the world. But when you realize that you are the world, and the world is you, this conflict of division comes to an end. Therefore there is action. I wonder if you see it. So, we are endowed with brains. You have expended that brain capacity in memorizing, in accepting authority tradition. And therefore you find it terribly difficult to see something new. But when you see something new, the habit comes over and takes it all to the old, and which becomes a habit, repeat. But when you look at it, then there is no repetition. It is something new taking place all the time. So, do you realize in your heart, in your totality of your mind, that you are the world and the world is you? When you cheat another, you're cheating yourself. When you are jealous, the world is jealous, and therefore your jealousy is sustained. And when you are envious, you are part of that world. And then you ask, how am I to live in that world without envy? Which is an abstraction, because you are envious. So, when you realize that you are the world, and it's really an extraordinary thing to realize that, not verbally, not as an idea, or a mental concept, but as an actuality, it's a tremendous thing. It breaks all limits of thought. You understand, sir? Come, sir. It breaks down all barriers. It breaks down the very center of your being, which is the me. When you say, I am the world and the world is me, there is no me. You understand? So it's a tremendous thing to realize that. Then you will know what compassion is. We meet on Tuesday afternoon for a talk. I hope it won't rain.